Oholot, Perek Chet, Mishnah Hey. Fifth Mishnah in the 8th chapter of Masechet Oholot. Elu lo mevi'in v'lo chotzesin. So these just don't do anything. They neither they don't cause the transfer of tumah, and they don't block from tumah either. So if these things are covering over or being ma'ahil, they just don't do anything. Hazra'im, seeds, v'hayirakot, and vegetables, ha'mechubarot lakarka, that are connected to the ground. Chutz mina yirakot shemanu, other than the vegetables that we listed before in the beginning of the chapter, which are irus, kisom, yirakot. Irus is an iris. Kisom, I don't remember what that was. Yirakot chamurim dulat divan, a Greek gourd. Bitter yirakot chamurim, animal vegetables. I actually looked it up in Zephariah, and they translated it as iris, ivy, squidding cucumber, Greek gourd. So if that helps you, like sometimes I thought like we should translate it, but then if you have squidding cucumbers at home, let me know. Okay, so all of these things that are connected, okay, vegetables, plants that are connected to the ground, other than the ones that we mentioned, okay, they're not. So then they're not mevi v'lo chotzeis. They don't do anything, or kipat. And remember, all of these things are also connected to the ground, because if they're not ibetlushim, if they're picked, if they became wet, and once food becomes wet, it's now mukhshar, able to become tameh lo chaytze, then they're not chaytzeitz at all, because they're davar mekabel tumah eno chaytzeitz b'fnei tumah. If it can become tameh itself, it can't block. But ibu shelo huchshru, if they have become huchshru, wet, i.e. viable to be mekabel tumah, hainu ochlim tahorim, then they're tahor, and they're no problem. So all these, so basically the list that we have, the Mishnah gave you a list of vegetables that are chotzetin and mevi, and everything else is not. Anything else that's not connected, if the food is not connected, if it's never become wet, and it's not mukhshar lekabel tumah, you can also use it as as a blocking, as an ohel. Kipat barad, or a covering of hail, sheleg, snow, kfor, glid. So kfor and glid are mayim nozlim shekafu, like ice. Glid is mei naharot kfuim / hail. So you made it whatever, some kind of snow igloo or ice / igloo. So all of those coverings are not chotzeitz. Water doesn't work. A person can be an ohel, but not if he's moving, if he's skipping from place to place. So Bartudoris is actually, okay, doleg is behema, a skipper is an animal, kofetz is a person. Some say doleg v'kofetz travayu be'adam. They're both talking about a person. Let's look at the Mishnah for a second. Hadoleg min makom l'makom, v'kofetz min makom l'makom. Someone who skips, hops from one person place to the next, and someone who jumps. So it's either an animal and a person, or a person and a person. If true, what's the difference between doleg and kofetz? Doleg, skip, shiraglo achat munachat ba'arif doleg. B'shniya, your 1 foot is down, and you're hopping from 1 foot to the other. Kofetz, jumping, b'shtei raglav. It's a 2 foot jump. Anyway, either way, a person who's moving, I jump over a grave, and at the same time, I'm mahil on a grave, and lunch and picnic. So nonetheless, since you're moving, that's not ohel. The ofarech, a flying bird, as opposed to what we learned before, which is a tied up bird. Vitalita min nafefet, or a talit, a cloth, a garment that's blowing in the wind. Menafefet, let's look at the Bartanura, right? So here we have menafefet, it's blowing in the wind, and you just have to have tumah and something else, whatever. Usvinashi shata al pnei hamayim, or a boat that's floating on the water, that's moving. It was considered unstable, and therefore it's not mevi tumah. Kashar et asvina b'davar sheyochol la'amida, but if you tied up the boat with something that could make it stable, kavash et even al gabei talit, or you covered over with a stone, et even, you use the stone to cover over this talit, the cloth, meviyata tumah, then it can bring the tumah, it can transfer the tumah. Rabbi Yossi says, habayit shebasvina eino meviyata tumah, the house in the boat cannot transfer tumah. Okay, how's that possible? The house is at the top of the boat, and it's an ohel on the kelim in the boat, and there's a dead person, I guess, in the water, and it goes over. So even though you have a bayit, even though you have an actual structure, a structure in the boat itself, nonetheless, that's not maybe ohel when it's not ma'ahil when it is floating, when it's moving. Barturi gives another explanation. Perush acher, abayit shebisfina, the house that you make like a temporary house. Ve'ino yachol la'amod b'ruach mitzuya. It's not stable. It can't stand up to just a normal wind. That's not considered an ohel. Nonetheless, so I guess the svina, the boat itself, he says ena lachak Rabbi Yossi. So I guess you would say the houseboat would be maybe a tatuma. All right, we'll stop here. Dedicate our learning. For all you living in houseboats, you let me know. We'll stop here. Dedicate our learning to the memory of my father, Harav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Make it a great day.